My reflections for 2019. Hello, my name's Steve McCabe and I'm a cognitive hypnotherapist. And I think it's fair to say that this year has been a turbulent year. And that's as far as my political comment is going to go today. I think it's been a year of extreme emotion. It doesn't need any introduction. And really for today, I'd just like to share some of my observations from the year, both seeing these professionally as well as in my personal life. And I remember, I think it was back in May this year, happening to walk across Westminster Bridge when I was accosted by a German TV film crew who were looking for some Brits to express their, I'm not going to use the B word, but their political comment on all things that were happening at the time. And I remember having an opportunity just to make the point that everybody just needs to calm down. Of course, that was hopeful thinking. Nothing about this year has been calm, to say the least, really. I guess my parting thoughts about 2019, as we come to the end of this interesting year, is really just how resilient this country is. I've seen it especially in with my clients. They've been incredible, and those patients or clients who've done particularly well with working with me tended to be those that have got the greatest resilience, and by that I mean have a mindset for change. Nothing happens in massive quantum leap changes. Everything happens in baby steps, and those with greatest resilience, not just in my clients but also moving forward through the year, have been those people who've really wanted to effectively be resilient. I think the other part of me which is looking back reflective on is the real need for self-care. I think the kind of year that we've had and moving forward, nothing's ever going to stay the same. There's going to be constant change, constant demands on each one of us, whether it's in your particular place of work, domestically. Giving yourself enough time to be kind to yourself, I think, is one takeaway. I'll hold my hand up. I'm not as clued up or as indulgent with myself in terms of self-care. I know what I need to do, like you. There's not enough hours in the day to get all you need to do done. But I need to find that 5-10 minutes to just simply relax, switch off all those devices, not just yet, but really to try and give yourself something of a fighting chance to recharge and clear the mind. It really doesn't need much in the way of a complete reboot, just to have some time away from what you're doing. We hear it every day, just taking a small break from your work. It used to be called a lunch break. I know I'm, again, as guilty as anybody of working through, grabbing a bite here and there, but you know, the benefits are obvious. So that's my number one resolution, I hasten to add, for next year, is really to try and invest more time in me. And really, just as a final point I'd like to make is one that a friend and fellow therapist colleague of mine made in one of her posts early in the year. The best way of describing this is one of a seam of gold, and by that I mean a seam as in a geological seam of a precious metal. And let me just tell you what my colleague Dawn Walton was explaining and did very well at explaining. So there was a couple who were both intent on mining for gold somewhere in Northern America a long time ago, and they spent endless weeks, months and ultimately years looking for their fortune by mining for gold. It got to the stage where they had completely given up on ever becoming successful and wealthy, for whatever their motives were, and they employed at that stage the services of a geologist. And when the geologist did his or her work on the area where they'd been mining for gold, Dawn makes a really good point that almost immediately this couple, looking for their riches, had found that at their closest point, and for some time afterwards, they were so close to their seam of gold that it was almost heartbreaking. They were literally feet away from striking it lucky. And the point that Dawn was making in her newsletter from earlier this year, and Dawn, I hope you don't mind me sharing it again now, was really that professionally, personally, and in any way, each one of us going through life with all the challenges that we have, often loses sight of just how close we are to that seam of gold. And I guess my parting message to you, without wanting to sound like a royal broadcast at 3 p.m. on the 25th, is really to keep hold of that belief that you really are closer than you absolutely realise to your very own seam of gold, whatever that seam of gold means to you. Stick with it. Be more kind to yourself. Invest more time in yourself. The old expression that you can't put somebody else's oxygen mask on until you've put your own oxygen mask on is absolutely ringing true. And all that remains for me to do is to wish you, all your loved ones, and anyone else that you know, to have the happiest and healthiest of Christmases and enjoy a very successful and healthy 2020. All the very best and good living. Bye for now.